Hello and welcome to yet another town hall. This is to you, Lady Smith. How's it going? Hopefully the weather's lekker where you are. My name is John Carricker and I'm going to be your host for this town hall. Let me take off the mask. So you've taken off your mask already there. It's okay, Bradley. Let me introduce myself. First of all, I'm John Carricker. I've been on radio, been on TV, been just about everywhere, and I'm going to be asking you questions that you have to the Evotel guy. Who is the Evotel guy? Let me introduce Head of Business Development at Evotel. Has gone off, which is going to be restarting soon. There we go. We're back on again. Hopefully you can still see us. And just sorry about the little technical glitch. So, Lady Smith, have you been to Lady Smith?
I've been to Lady Smith one or two times. Yeah, haven't been in a while, but excited to get back to Lady Smith and start the project soon.
I've never been to Lady Smith. I've probably driven through it. You know, it's one of those towns which you see on the highway and you think maybe I should stop there one day. So if you are in Lady Smith, do make a point of saying how's it. This is how it's going to work. This is an interactive conversation. Obviously, there's a whole lot of information about Evotel that you're going to need to know about today, and we're going to share a lot from our side. But it's all about we'll keep looking at you. You and I just talk. We just talk about stuff.
We should.
I don't know what we should talk about though. And how do we know it's working? We don't really know. We'll just make it up. Okay, we should be working. I'm getting the thumbs up from the technical crew. Let us know if you can hear us. If you can hear us, leave comments below saying, all right, we can hear you, John. Should we start from the beginning again? Let's start right from the beginning. My name is John Carricker. This is Bradley Becker, Head of Business Development at Evotel. It's good to be along with you. We're going to talk to Bradley a little while. Let's start from the beginning. The point of the evening, it's a town hall. You're the town. This is the hall. It's what we're going to have to do. I've got my mask. We're socially distancing. Hopefully you are socially distancing. You got your mask as well?
I do.
All right. You got your mask because Bradley's got his mask. So this is an interactive conversation and we will have a chat. And I'm going to ask a lot of questions to Bradley, and hopefully you've got questions as well. And I know that they're going to be things that I haven't thought about. So please leave your questions below. Leave them in the comments or in the comments below, or on top, or on the side, or wherever they might be. Leave your comments, and we will get to those questions. We've got a team of experts behind the scenes that'll be able to answer some of the questions that Bradley or I might not be able to do as well. But the point of this is to have an interactive conversation. Leave questions in the comments. We will get to those questions, and no question is silly. There's no such thing as a silly question. We will do our best to answer it, and if we don't have the answer for you today, we'll give you details. We'll get back to you, social medias and all those kind of things. So let me introduce Bradley Becker to you. Bradley is the Business Development Manager here at Evotel. Bradley, thanks very much for popping here.
No, thanks for having me.
A lot of questions are going to get thrown your way, so you're ready for this?
I'm ready for it, definitely.
Bring it. Let's see. Let's start at the beginning. We're talking about Evotel. People have seen it. They now know something is coming to their hood. First of all, what is Evotel?
Evotel is a fiber to the home network provider. We've been in existence since 2015. We've built numerous aerial and trench networks throughout South Africa. We're excited to finally bring a project to Ladysmith and provide a high-speed fiber to the home service. And just looking forward to getting people connected to a world of possibilities with high-speed fiber connection.
All right, the big buzzword that I'm hearing at the moment, fiber to the home. This is what you do. So in a nutshell, what does fiber to the home mean?
It's essentially just the fastest form of internet connection that we provide to every single home that we pass throughout our rollout. This includes single dwelling units, complexes, we connect them all, and essentially just delivering an alternative or the next best technology after ADSL copper. So we replace old outdated technology with the latest technology. It's the fastest form of internet not only in South Africa but in the world, and it's essentially a glass tube that transmits data from one point to another. So
okay, wait, don't get ahead of yourself. We're going to find out about fiber in a moment. Because the one other thing you mentioned there was open access. What do you mean by open access?
Open access is essentially an environment where we have more than one internet service provider. We have roughly 23 currently on our network, and in the process of onboarding, a couple of other guys, that are in the pipeline. The beauty of an open access network is that flexibility and that opportunity to be able to choose the right ISP, the right package for your needs and your family's needs. It creates such a competitive environment within our network where ISPs or internet service providers are competing for other customers' businesses. So you can be rest assured that the service that you're going to get from these service providers is top notch. Because if they don't give you the service, there's 22 other service providers waiting to gladly assist you. And again, we also love onboarding new local service providers as well. So we open that opportunity to whoever wants to provide a data service on our network to end users in Ladysmith.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack from just that screen that we were looking at now and what you've told us. Let's start at the beginning. You were saying you provide the fiber, so you've got a great analogy of what you do compared to what the service providers do.
Correct. So we, as Evotel, would provide the infrastructure, we would lay the infrastructure. We always refer to it as we provide the highway or we build the highway. And the 23 service providers that we have on our network essentially would provide you with the vehicle and determine how fast you can drive on the highway based on what you need. We own the infrastructure, we maintain the infrastructure, and we also install the infrastructure, and then we've got great ISPs that then make sure that you can enjoy that infrastructure and get the most out of it.
Okay, so we've got the rollout. We're going to talk about how that happens in a moment. There's going to be fiber to my home and to the businesses, I imagine, of Ladysmith as well. Is that correct?
So to a point, if the business falls within our rollout, there are opportunities for us to be able to connect businesses, but predominantly it is fiber to the home services that we would provide. A lot of people nowadays, however, run their businesses from home. So essentially, we do service people that have a little office at home with the best fiber connection, so that you are able to work efficiently.
Okay, well, seeing as we've got the screen up on the this information up on the screen there, Bradley, what is the advantage of the Evotel fiber?
I think the most important advantage is it's the fastest form of internet. Nothing travels faster than the speed of light. The beauty of fiber as well is it's reliable, it's uncompromised, and we can deliver speeds of up to 1 gigabits per second, which is currently the fastest speed that we have available in South Africa. Technology evolves, so we can just imagine how amazing it's going to get over time and how fast it's going to get over time. And the beauty of it is, you wouldn't need to have to implement any other infrastructure after fiber, because it is the top class quality network that you would need for many years to come afterwards. Again, it doesn't have any street value, it's also another benefit. It doesn't get stolen like your ADSL copper wires. It's also not affected by weather, can't get hit by lightning. So just overall a stable network that's moving at light speed.
I just want to say, somebody was saying they're not very impressed with the Evotel fiber because of the little technical glitch we had at the beginning. It's not the network fiber. It was one of our computers, by the way. One of our computers just decided that it had enough and sort of fell over. So it's not the fiber. The fact that you're getting this in high definition, the internet speed that you're supplying us is super duper fast, right? Yeah. Just so you know, people are saying not impressed. It wasn't the Evotel fiber, it was an old computer. So apologies for that. Mark wants to know if we've begun. Yes, we have begun, Mark. Okay, so let's go. I want to go back to the service providers. So you're creating the fiber, it's super fast, and we'll get into how all of that works in a moment. I decide that I want to have fiber at my house.
Yeah.
What is my service provider? Do I phone them up and go, how's it, I want this? Or do I phone Evotel and go, how's it, I want this?
You could do both. We would gladly assist clients if they had to call in. We would help them select the right package, the right line speed based on their requirements. But we always do advise that residents or customers do contact the ISPs as their first line of contact. It just allows them to get to know that ISP a little better, see what type of customer service they would deliver, and then ultimately sign up with them. But we would gladly also assist customers as well. So there's various platforms where you can sign up for the installation into your home.
Okay. Now, there's something called an expression of interest. That's where we are at the moment.
Correct.
What is the rollout in Ladysmith? How does it work?
So the first thing that we usually do in any build is we would do a expression of interest survey. This is just to start engaging with the community, explain the rollout, gather some interest, get you hyped for the rollout. It's an exciting project. We also obtain your contact details. The reason why we do this is, during the build, it is sometimes a very intrusive process. We want to be able to keep you in the loop in terms of what's happening in your suburb, what to be on the lookout for, assist you in signing up, all these types of things, just creating an open line of the residents of Ladysmith and Evotel. Obviously, the next step is where we're at now, where we host an evening like this, just so that we can interact with again. We're very open line of communication and transparency and constantly engaging with the community that we're building in. Straight after that, we start getting site ready. And we start distributing civil notifications, we start putting up barricading and pilot holes. These pilot holes are predominantly just to identify where certain utilities and services run, so that when we do start trenching in step 4, we don't damage water pipes and power cables, etc. So we try and minimize as much of that, and obviously also to keep sites safe, put up barricading so that no one falls into any trenches, etc. And then straight after civil work is completed and started, we do reinstatements, so we actually start putting the suburb back to its original condition. We reinstate driveways, grass, bushes, flower beds, all those type of things. And then we actually engage with the community again after that to make sure that we've covered all of our bases, we've rectified everything, we've left Ladysmith back to its original former glory. And once everyone is happy, the exciting part is we start installing people and we start getting them connected to this fabulous network.
What is the timeline from where we are today, which is the town hall, to me being able to watch Netflix on a fiber?
So a build this size could take anything between, I'd say, 8 and 16 weeks. Usually a contractor that we appoint can deliver anything between 1,000 to 2,000 homes per month. Sure. So it's all dependent on how much labor we have on site, and it's also governed by the municipality. We also can't just send thousands of people to go and trench in your area and cause an inconvenience to community members. So it varies. Obviously we strive to get an area connected as quickly as possible, but I would say it's safe to say anything between 8 to 16 weeks for us to do all civil work, fiber work, reinstatements, and then start installing customers.
8 to 16 weeks.
Correct.
Okay, so 16 weeks is a long time. I'm excited. I want to be able to watch my Netflix. Yeah. But let's talk about the process. You're talking about trenching. What does a trench look like? How wide is it? How deep is it?
So we would trench on both sides of the sidewalk firstly, because we connect every single home. We open a trench of roughly about 300 millimeters wide, 450 deep, so ruler length more or less. Yeah. We obviously put the soil on the side of the trench so that there is still room for people to walk on the sidewalk, and we put barricading up. On a main feeder route where it's the main link between the pop container or the point of presence, as we call it, and the network, we would dig it slightly deeper to about 900 to a meter just to be safe. Obviously, we don't want that infrastructure getting damaged in the future, so we try and put it at a depth that is not going to cause any issues in the future. And essentially the trench is not very wide, it's not very deep, but it is still a danger hazard, so that's why the barricading goes up. And then when it comes to people's driveways, people are in and out all the time, so we have to make sure that we don't inconvenience people. We usually go underneath the driveway using what we call a mole equipment. It just almost knocks sand through the bottom of the driveway, and we feed the duct through there. Certain cases we do have to open the driveway, but rest assured we'll reinstate it back to its original condition. All bricks, everything will be back to its original condition.
Okay, I'll get to that in a moment. I'm just thinking of the driveway at the moment. If I leave for work in the morning,
yeah,
my driveway will be fine. Will I have to park in the street that night, or will I be able to get back in?
No, not at all. We would never expect that of anyone to inconvenience them in that way. So usually a driveway is open the same day, backfilled the same day, so that you can still get in and out. However, if the trench is open when you do come home, the contractors on site are obligated to have driving grids, which they would put over the trench so that you can at least drive of your property. Sorry. But if you're not having that joy, please do reach out to us so that we can ensure that we don't cause an inconvenience for you and we can assist you.
All right, so you've dug a trench, you got the sand out. How long is that open? If you could do a driveway in a day, will those trenches be open for months? I know just around the corner from my house there's a water project, this big, but it takes up this much space.
Yeah.
How long from when you dig the hole to it's full back up again?
So again, that varies. It's all dependent on types of challenges, etc., that we incur.
Rock or soil.
Exactly. But the goal is to open that trench, lay the duct as quickly as possible. There's certain cases where we can build a block in a couple of days.
Sure.
Some blocks sometimes take a couple of weeks. It's all dependent on how smooth the build goes. But the aim is to be in and out of Ladysmith as quickly as possible to cause as little disturbance as possible.
All right. Now, you were talking about putting it back again, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. I've got a lovely grass. It's been laid out, or I've made my own pavement.
Yeah.
Do you put it back the way it was?
Yeah, 100%. We are obligated by the municipality to restore the municipal ground that we've worked on to its original condition, if not better. We do take precautionary measures, obviously, beforehand, such as before and after photos, to ensure that we do reinstate everything back to its original condition, whether it be grass, tar, paving, anything. We'll make sure that it's reinstated back to its original condition. If you're not happy with the reinstatement, please, by all means, reach out to us. We would love to assist you. We would love to get the contractor to assist you. We'll meet you on site and make sure that you're happy with the reinstatement so that we can sign off and get you connected.
Okay, because I've seen previously they filled up the driveway, but it has the little dip, and you kind of deal with the dip. You're saying don't deal with the dip.
Don't deal with the dip. Even when we are not present in the suburb from a contractor point of view, we do have guarantees in place to ensure that in 2 years' time, if you do have an issue, we will still come and reinstate and make sure that if it was caused by our trench and our civil work, that we're obligated to fix it for you.
Okay, including flower beds. You said flower beds
Correct.
earlier.
Flower beds, grass, anything that we've damaged during the construction process, we will reinstate or replace.
Excellent. How much is this going to cost me, a Ladysmith resident, to have you put fibre into my neighbourhood? Because it's going to increase the value of my neighbourhood, right?
No, definitely. Fibre does 100% increase property value. Nowadays, when people buy homes, the first thing that they check is whether there's fibre connection or some form of connection. And what better than having fibre straight outside of your house when you're purchasing a new house or selling your house. But there's no cost involved to the residents of Ladysmith for the infrastructure. That infrastructure is laid at Evotel's cost, so they're not obligated to pay anything. Obviously, only once they take up the service is their cost.
All right, let's get to a couple of questions that have come through already. Thank you very much. Remember, you can leave your questions in the comments below. Brandon's here to answer all the questions. What do we got? Mark would like to know if you've begun in Ladysmith yet.
So we've begun with the groundworks. We've started obviously with show my interest surveys. We've done the virtual tunnel. Civil notifications have started going out, so you should receive a notification in your postbox. And if you don't, please reach out to us and let us know if you haven't. And essentially, the plan is to start breaking ground as of next week already.
Okay. Where are you starting? Do you know?
So at the moment, we've got 3 areas identified in Ladysmith, which we'll share, as we break ground. And this is just we obtain way leaves in phases from the municipality, and this is so that we don't have that inconvenience of having thousands of contractors throughout Ladysmith. So we will definitely share the first 3 areas that we will be building with the community as we start the project. We'll share that information.
Where do you put that? Facebook and
we'll put it on Facebook. We'll communicate directly with the community using the expression of interest information that we obtained. And then, we'll reach out to the community and let them know.
All right, so more queries on the date for breaking ground. So you're saying hopefully next week?
Correct. It's all dependent on the go-ahead from the municipality.
Okay, the good old municipality.
Correct.
As part of that, there's always the worry that you guys are digging big trenches where there's water and there's electric. What sort of protection do the residents have from you hitting a water pipe and going, all right, we'll get to that next week?
No, so the municipality does hold us accountable. There's certain measures in place to ensure that if we do damage any utilities, we're obligated to rectify or fix those utilities. Obviously, if it's something that we can fix or the contractor can fix, such as a small 25mm water pipe or power cable, we are able to fix it on site. However, your bigger water pipes and cables, we would then log not a complaint, a ticket with the municipality, and we would be on site until that gets rectified. So we wouldn't leave site until everyone is, has their water back or their electricity. We do obviously take precautionary measures before we start construction. We scan all roads, sidewalks. The way leaves also indicate where certain utilities run, etc. as well. So we do try our utmost best to not inconvenience the residents of Ladysmith as much as we can.
Yeah. I'm just thinking sometimes those lines aren't exactly right. So you hit a pipe, you'll close that up as soon as possible.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll make sure it gets fixed.
Again, we're going to hold you to this. Make sure.
Definitely.
Ladysmith people are sitting there going, actually want them to hit a pipe. I want to see if Brandon's telling the truth or not. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so you've laid this highway down.
Yeah.
And then how do you connect that to the house?
So obviously every home that we pass, we provision fibre for every single home, hence why we have to trench on either side of the sidewalk.
Right.
It's compulsory. We then terminate that fibre into what we call a wall box, which gets mounted onto the boundary wall, and we also won't damage a wall, and if we do, again, it's one of the reinstatement things, so please also reach out to us if we have, so that we can rectify it. We terminate the fibre into that wall box, and then when you take up the service, we run the fibre from that wall box into a suitable location in your house and connect it to what we call an ONT device, or customer premise equipment. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially how we get homes connected.
Okay, and then the service provider comes in,
correct,
puts in a modem or a something, and then that'll work?
Yeah, so then out of the 23 service providers that whoever you've chosen, they would then arrange to deliver your Wi-Fi router, which plugs straight into that ONT device. They set you up and make sure that you've got Wi-Fi coverage throughout your house, and then connect it to the internet and you can utilize it.
Me as the customer can pick where what do you call it, the ONT device, the end point. I can pick that where that goes. Correct. In my house. So obviously there's certain requirements for where that ONT device needs to be. It needs to be close to a power source because it needs to be plugged in. And obviously we always advise that you choose a very central location in your homes, just so that you can get that even distribution of your Wi-Fi connection. But again, it is up to the residents in terms of what is a suitable location for them. So our friendly installers that come and actually do the installation will run through a few different scenarios for you, give you different options so that you can choose the best one for you. What does the fibre look like inside of a house? I hadn't thought of that.
Again, it's all dependent on what you want it to look like. You can paint over it. It sits in a UV protected sheathing. Mm-hmm. It's as thin as a normal cable.
Okay.
It's not
like a big chunky thing. No,
not at all. It's one little thin cable. Mm-hmm. It can be run through a roof. It could be run through the wall. It's completely up to you on how you want it to look aesthetically. And again, once it's in your home, you can paint over it, you can blend it in as much as you want.
How much does it, you said that the installation in the neighborhood is free, it shouldn't raise your taxes, all those kind of things. Yeah. How much is fiber, how much does it cost to get these line speeds that you were talking about?
So that's also all dependent on the service provider that you choose. Out of the 23 service providers, we have numerous service providers that would offer free installation, so they would cover the cost of us actually installing the ONT device and that fiber line into your home, and then you would only have that monthly data fee that you would pay them for the line speed and the data services. But usually that's completely up to the ISP. We don't dictate what they charge to an end user. So what I would suggest is that you get hold of some of the ISPs, get an understanding of what the costs are. Do they charge for an installation? If they do, what that charge is, etc. And then the beauty of the ISPs that we have is they all month to month. So they do offer month to month packages, 12 month, 24 months. So it's all about what best suits you. It's a very personalized type of service.
Again, just looking at the screen, all of those people on all those service providers will be competing with each other.
Definitely.
Trying to come up with better packages and things. So it's not like the old days where there was one Goliath that was supplying you with the internet and they charged what they like. These guys are all going to be competing with each other for the best price.
No, definitely. And again, that's the beauty of an open access network, is that competitive environment. And the end user ultimately benefits out of that because you're getting the best service at the best price. And, all the service providers keep each other on their toes. And the beauty of it is we're adding new service providers every single month. So there will always be an endless, possibility of choice for you.
Okay, a couple of more questions that have come in. Remember, you can leave your questions in the comments below, Lady Smith. Let's get those questions in. Otherwise, we don't want to be guilty of not answering your question. So I have 4 more to go. Can the community suggest where we trench next? I'm assuming that's which suburbs of Ladysmith they can trench next. How does that process work?
No, definitely. We're always open to listening to where the community would like us to build. Again, it is also based on the municipality. The municipality does have to look after the best interest of their wards and their municipality. So we do follow their guidelines very, very strictly. However, we love to see people messaging us and emailing us saying, please start in my area. So yes, please, by all means, get in touch with us and let us know whether you want us to build in your area urgently, and we'll gladly look into it. But yeah, it's all dependent on what we're allowed to do.
While I'm on that, can people tell you where to trench? If there's a complex, say, and they say, well, we wanted to go this way and not that way, how does that process work?
So obviously we as Evotel have to ensure that the network is built in such a way that it is going to be stable for many years to come. So as soon as we start making alterations to where trench runs or how a trench runs, it starts jeopardizing the overall network build. So we do stick to our plans. These are plans that we submit to the municipality as well, because in future the municipality has to also know where that infrastructure runs as well. So it's very seldom that we do move the trench, but again, we also don't want to cause an inconvenience to the community. So if there are certain circumstances where we have to look at an alternative solution, we will gladly do that. We are a very agile company. Our contractors are great. They're very happy to assist customers should there be something that's going to cause an inconvenience to them.
Couple of questions about the network itself now. I'm going to put them together. Somebody wants to know how many devices can you connect compared to one of your competitors, one of the 4G, 5G competitors, and also in fact, I'll get to the second one. Let's go to the first one. Compared to a cell phone network data, 4G, 5G, everybody's raving about that. How does your system compare to that?
So one of the many advantages of an Evotel fiber network, it's a point-to-point solution, meaning the fiber line that we install into your home is not shared between anyone else. Obviously, a wireless network is a shared network, so it's very difficult to guarantee line speeds and stuff. And as soon as you start connecting more devices, you will see a very big drop in your line speeds. And that's just solely because everyone's got to have the same user experience on a wireless network, so they've got to throttle and shape and all those type of things. On a fiber network, you could have 20 devices connected. Obviously, it will affect your speed slightly if one person is using more bandwidth in your household than the other, but there's very smart ways of how you can actually log into your Wi-Fi router and actually allocate bandwidth to certain devices and stuff so that you can kind of manage it, and your ISPs will gladly help you in actually setting that up. But the beauty of fiber is because it's such a stable, fast network, you can connect a lot more devices to it and not really see an impact on your line speed, etc.
Yeah, to tell you a little broadcasting secret, as we're streaming this live, in the old days we used to rely on 3G and 4G and all those kind of things, and as soon as hundreds of people walked into a room back when you could do that, and everybody's now on their phones sharing on Twitter and things, then suddenly the network would just crash. Well, it wouldn't crash, it would just be really, really slow. But now with fiber, as you say, it's just massive, and plug it in and it works, which is great.
Definitely.
Okay, Andre wants to know, do you throttle, and are there fair use policies?
So when it comes to fair usage policies, again, that's all got to do with the ISP. We do not control that in any way, but I can confidently say that all of our packages are unthrottled, unshaped, uncapped. Sure. And again, that's why I'd always advise for you to contact your service provider or numerous service providers and just get a gauge in terms of what they offer. And ask those type of questions, but it's a very good question. But on fiber, you wouldn't have to have fair usage policy. You wouldn't have to throttle people because you're installing a point-to-point network. You're not sharing it with anyone else. So there's no reason for you having to do that. But again, we don't control that.
Okay, service provider will have T's and C's apply.
Correct.
Have a read of those. I imagine the service providers will give different speeds as well. 20, 40, 210, 1 gig, up, down, all those kind of things.
So all the service providers offer, their packages throughout our line speed range, and that ranges anything from a 5 megabits per second line up to a 1 gigabits per second line. So it goes from a 5 to a 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and then the Ferrari of line speeds to 1 gig.
What do you do with 1 gigs of internet? Challenge accepted.
You run the world.
Okay, I don't know who asked this question. Which side of Ladysmith are you starting from? The Newcastle, Durban, or the Harrismith side?
Sure. My geographics isn't that
very
good,
okay.
but usually in any build we would try and start as central in a location as possible, so more or less in the heart of Ladysmith, and we expand from there.
Okay.
But again, it's all dependent on what the municipality allows us, and I can't tell you whether it's from a Newcastle or Harrismith side.
I think Azra joined late, wants to know how long does a trench deployment take?
So normally the civil work is the thing that takes the longest, because it is quite a labour intensive process. But trenching, like I said, trenching, fibre work, laying up ducts, all those things will be completed anything between 8 to 16 weeks. Usually we try and open trenches, first and as quickly as possible. We lay the duct and we backfill it, so we won't necessarily reinstate everything back to its original condition. We leave that at the end. But again, it's very difficult to say how long those trenches are going to take to open and close, etc., because it's all dependent on how smoothly the project goes. And we'll only really know once we start breaking ground.
There's a rock in the middle of the way. That's going to take a day to move, as opposed to just soft sand running through.
Correct. So it's very different. Each build is very different.
Related to the speeds and things, what's your uptime? Because you mentioned how ADSL, if it rains or there's lightning, things crash. There's load shedding, especially I'm having load shedding with my 3G because the battery backups are terrible. So what is your uptime for Evotel?
So our uptime, and it's something that obviously we take very serious, we don't ever want customers to be paying for something and not being able to utilize the service. And obviously the times that we're going through now, uptime is crucial. We don't want someone's Zoom meeting to drop, mid Zoom meeting. So, our uptime at the moment is 99.96%, which is amazing. And again, hold us to it. When there are network outages and stuff, we make sure that we deploy a team as quickly as possible. Our SLA in getting repairs done is anything up to 72 hours, but we have had cases where we've gotten the network up and running within an hour. But it's all dependent on the type of network outage, etc. But we will get it fixed within 72 hours.
Okay, we'll get to some more questions in a moment. Don't forget, you can leave them in the comments below. Any questions you have about the trenching. But I just want to move on, Bradley, if you don't mind, to some of the positive things that you guys are doing. You mentioned the schools.
Yeah.
That you're supplying free fiber to the schools?
Yeah, correct. So one of the most important initiatives at Evotel, is something that we as a team are very proud of and passionate about, is we provide every school that falls within our rollout with a free fiber connection. Free of charge. We do the installation. We've got some really cool ISPs that are part of this initiative that will then supply the school with the data services, also free of charge. It's an indefinite service, so as long as our network is up and running and lit up, that school will have free fiber connection. So yeah, it's something that we're passionate about, and we really encourage all schools to get in touch with us so that we can start getting them signed up and connected, and getting them utilizing the infrastructure for what it should be used for.
I'm just thinking today's, like you say, today's day and age, kids are at home learning, teachers are at home learning. Now suddenly they can be in a classroom and it's free to be able to send that information.
No, definitely, and it's an important initiative for us because they are future leaders. We have to ensure that we provide them with all the necessary tools to continue growing and learning, and then also provide teachers with the necessary tools to assist learners in learning. So, everything has changed, everything has evolved in various ways, and our aim is to provide Ladysmith with the best fiber connection so that, it opens a lot of other possibilities. Working from home becomes a lot more easier, tutoring, all those type of things, so many benefits.
Let's go back to that slide just to tell us about how many people have, or how many homes, 80,000 homes in the last year?
So that's the goal. So we've gotten to a point where we're passing plus minus 5,000 homes a month
Sure.
over the last 2 years, and we've passed 50,000 homes to date. We've obviously got a lot of projects on the go, and we're excited that we've got a goal of 80,000 homes in the next year, starting with Ladysmith. So we have grown substantially. We're no longer the new kids on the block. We are starting to make a positive impact in this industry, and really excited to really start with the Ladysmith project and add them to the many thousand homes that we've already passed.
That last little section down there, you mentioned the contractors.
Yeah.
You also mentioned local service providers. So tell us that initiative that you guys do.
So again, when we go into any community, our goal is to uplift that community in many ways. Not just from an infrastructure point of view, but also from a business point of view, providing people the opportunity to become their own entrepreneurs and start their own little businesses. So we look at utilizing as much local business and labor as we possibly can. It's something that we don't take we take it very serious. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that we're very excited about and can't wait to implement this in Ladysmith is what we call business in a box, or reseller in a box. And it's essentially where we give residents the opportunity to be able to sell our services and earn an extra income by assisting their fellow community members in signing up, and they get paid a commission per sale that they bring in. And that could be a start of building a business, that then, even when we're no longer in the area of trade, they can continue selling our packages, our network, and getting people connected.
Does fiber rollout increase the chances of theft of cable in there?
No. One of the benefits of fiber is it has no street value. It's not sought after like your copper. So the person will steal it once, he'll never steal it again. He'll get no money for it. So,
okay.
and again, the beauty of it is it's underground, so it makes it very difficult to steal. But it doesn't have any street value at all. So the risk of it being stolen is minimal.
And what do they say? It's the width of a human hair anyway.
Correct. It's a tiny little strand that just transmits data from one point to another with light, so it's extremely thin.
Another question. Remember, you can leave comments below. Please leave any questions in the comments below. A question coming in said, do you piggyback? I'm assuming, are you, you're this big highway, where are you relying? How do you get that information? So I guess this is IT guy wants to know this question.
No, 100%. And I'm not that technically inclined, but we have upstream providers that provide us with what we call backhaul, or that main link between the various data centers throughout South Africa to our nearest POP, or point of presence. That is essentially the heart of our network, and we then connect all the fibers throughout the suburb to that specific POP. So we utilize various different upstream providers, whoever's available in that specific area. And essentially what happens is the fiber strand that we install in your house runs through the ducts to our point of presence, which is usually at schools or office parks or malls, and that then runs from the backhaul into a data center. So you're essentially connected right to a data center, which is in Joburg, Durban. There's various data centers throughout.
I'm imagining there's a pipe this big that's running from a data center into these points of presence.
Not really. It doesn't have to be, which is the beauty of it, but I've never seen a backhaul link myself,
really?
But it's very similar to our normal ducts, etc., that we install in a suburb.
Okay, so it's fast. Is the bottom line?
It's fast, very fast.
So even if I'm buying, because I'm imagining that's the worry, that you're buying a 1 gig line, but then you're only getting 22 megs or 3 megs or something.
No.
If you're buying a gig, if you do a speed test, you're going to get pretty close to it.
No, definitely. We've had circumstances where people actually get more than what they're paying for. It's also all dependent on the service provider as well. They do control your speeds. We provide the hardware that can go up to 1 gigabits per second. But again, if you are having issues with your line speed, reach out to your service provider, get them to have a look at it, but also contact us if you're not getting any joy, and we'll gladly assist you, because fiber is meant to, if you're paying for 20 meg, you should be getting 20 meg download.
Javier would like to know, when can they connect to the fiber? You're saying the rollout is happening now. I'm imagining it's the end of this 9 to 18 weeks that you were talking, 6 to 18 weeks.
Correct. So obviously when we build a fiber network, we want to ensure that when it goes live, that there aren't any glitches or any hiccups, and that you can start utilizing the service right away without having downtime and all those type of things. So we take it very serious. We take our time. We want to ensure that we build a stable network. So once we've completed the construction work, we've done the reinstatement, we start floating the fiber through the ducts. We do speed or light tests. So we actually distribute light through the different fibers to make sure that they are getting from one point to the other. And only once everyone is happy, we sign off and we start scheduling installation. But an installation can take 2 hours to do, sometimes 30 minutes. It's all dependent on the resident's house. But as soon as you have pre-ordered your fiber installation and the area goes live, our ladies could even schedule you the next day and get you installed.
And then Javier also wants to know about your after-sales customer service. You've come, you've put the trenches in, you've made the suburb look good,
Yeah.
and then you leave, you're off to the next thing. What's the after-sales service like?
No, again, that's something that we're super passionate about, is ensuring that customers are getting the best experience, the best customer experience. We don't want people to like I said, spend money on something and not get that result or that service. So again, we're always available. Our support is 24 hours as well. So if you are having issues with your line speed or your line's dropped and your ISP is not helping you, you can contact us, you can email us on our various social media pages, as we're very active. It's something that we take very serious, and we will gladly assist anyone that needs assistance.
Andre's offered his yard for a pop.
We'll definitely talk to Andre then.
Andre just wants to have all of the internet in his house.
No, definitely.
Okay. This is a great question. You're trenching, and there are big trees and things, and I imagine, Lady Smith, I'm sure you're a beautiful suburb with lots of trees. Do you have to cut down trees to put those trenches in?
No, not at all. We don't have to touch a single tree. Obviously, there will be circumstances where we would have to maybe reroute the trench closer to the crown of the tree, but at no point in time will a contractor ever cut a tree or cut a root or anything like that that's going to obviously jeopardize that tree and it dies or falls. Again, the goal is to leave the suburb like it was before we even came, so we won't touch a single tree.
Okay, I'm just running through some more questions here. Who pays? We've had service provider. Are you a service provider? Because you're talking about phoning you all the time, and I can understand that for the trenching and for the infrastructure. But if my line goes down, I'm busy watching Netflix stops working, do I phone Evotel?
So we always advise that you contact your ISP or your service provider first. That should be your first line of contact. They would then, log a ticket with our support department so that we can then look into the matter. Sometimes it could be an issue on the ISP side that they could get resolved, but we always suggest that a resident phones their service provider first as a start. It's only when you're not really getting any joy from them, which I'm sure you'll have, the best experience with the service providers. They're very on the ball, just like we are. Then you would contact us and we would then support you and kind of log that ticket on your behalf, but please contact your service provider first.
Somebody must contact you is, I'm sure, an entrepreneur listening about being a Ladysmith service provider. Would you tell us about the support you have for that?
Again, so we are always open to onboarding new internet service providers, whether you're a wireless provider or just a normal ISP. Please reach out to us. We've got a team that looks after our service providers, gives them all the support that they need, and we will gladly onboard as many service providers that are on our network. So we're very open to it. Again, it's